Folks, it's finally time for what you've been waiting so long for with bated breath. The best team for Scarlet and Violet is finally here. And I put in an extreme amount of time into making this the best that I possibly could. I went and just looked over from everything, starting from the best starter and then building downwards, attempting not to have too much crossover and coverage. But naturally, there definitely is some. This team is arguably the best, but there's something important I want to point out. These games let you do anything in any order you want, so the potential for multiple best teams is a lot higher than any time prior. So if you guys feel you've come up with a Pokemon that could have been on this team instead of any of the others, I'll say two things. We have alternate starter teams coming. And if Pokemon allowed you to have 10 members on a team, we'd have been perfect. So that's all I just wanted to point out so nobody goes throwing too much of a fit if a Pokemon they felt would be better wasn't here. You'll probably end up seeing them. Now, it is truly time for Scarlet and Violet's best team. So, buckle in. Before we get started though, we have a brand new exclusive series over on Mystic Umbreon Shorts. I'm going to be taking a Pokemon of your guys' choice and seeing how well it performs in a Scarlet and Violet playthrough. Should said Pokemon be on your team? This series will go up once a week every Sunday, so be sure to head over to Mystic Umbreon Shorts to check that out. Also, over on Mystic Reads, I'm reading the Yaju Sanin a Naruto fanfic, and Road to be a Pokemon Master Kanto edition, where Ash and Serena have a Kanto adventure together. I will leave links for both of these channels in the description and in the iCard above. So we have to lead off this video with the best starter. If you happen to follow Mystic Umbreon Shorts, either here on YouTube or TikTok, you'd have seen my ruling on this huge conversation a week ago. Skeledirge wasn't just the starter I chose, but I think when you break it down, it can offer you the most out of its trio. Though with Meowscarada, it wasn't that much of a runaway decision. The cat's got talent too. As always, it's open for debate, but I feel confident putting Skeledirge as the best starter for these games. And also the most well-designed. I love that little fire dude hanging out on its snout. Anyway, your Fuecoco will evolve in a Crocodile at level 16, and then finally in the Skeledirge at level 36. I was pretty surprised to see this thing not only turn out to be a ghost type, but also such a special attacker. We just had a ghost fire starter in Hisui with Typhlosion, which of course was also a special attacker. So it would have been nice to at least get a physical attacker with this one, but it's all good. That said, I'm a huge Skeledirge guy, and I'm happy to know it turned out to be so good. Alright, this is pretty exciting stuff. The first moveset of Scarlet and Violet best teams. I'm so glad the long national nightmare is over. So Skeledirge has got Torch Song, Shadow Ball, Earth Power, and Flamethrower. I'll say right off the bat that it's a shame it doesn't get access to something like Focus Blast, but I think I still made a nice set here. So Torch Song is learned upon evolution, and that's a powerful stab move to learn right there, which boosts Skeledirge's special attack stat when it hits. Next up, you'll be learning Shadow Ball at level 38. Though a later game combo of Will-O-Wisp and Hex might attract some people as a ghost type strat. Then with Earth Power, that will be learned via a TM. You'll have to either find it in one of several areas including Asado Desert, or make it with Silicobra Sand, Shellos Mucus, and Barboat Slime after you've unlocked the recipe from beating Team Star's Airy. Finally, the set closes out with Flamethrower, and that is learned at level 32. I felt doubling up on Fire type stab was just fine here. But if you'd like to make an argument for a different move, go ahead. I think Skeledirge got a bit of the short end of things when it comes to this move pool. We'll keep the new Pokemon train rolling with one of the best new Rock-type Pokemon to the franchise in generations, Garganacl. This big Minecraft beacon golem man is a lot like Gigalith in a few ways, but I would almost want to say it's better even with the difference in attack stat. It's got the same bulk, and I'd make the claim it has a bit bigger of a move pool. But we'll talk more about moves in a few moments. I want to highlight its incredible Purifying Salt ability, which completely prevents it from being hit with any status stealing moves, and also halves the damage taken from ghost type attacks. This region is, for whatever reason, jammed to the gills with ghost type Pokemon, so having a Pokemon with an ability like this is incredibly useful. Its base 130 defense, ability, and incredibly early availability just makes it a great Pokemon to choose for your team and get a lot out of. Nacli is available right when you're allowed to do the treasure hunt and evolves in the Knackle stack at level 24 and then Garganacl at level 38. It's just a bit later of an evolution than your starter, which I'm happy with. Let's see what moves it brings to the table. Salt Cure, Stone Edge, Earthquake, and Hammer Arm are the 4 moves for Garganacl. And I'll tell ya, that looks like a pretty strong moveset. Salt Cure is an awesome move, causing Steel and Water Pokemon to lose a quarter of their health every turn after it hits. It's learned when Nacli evolves, and is a great signature move that they introduced in this generation. If you want a stronger move though, Stone Edge is going to be the other nice stab move for your Garganacl. It's learned via a TM of course, but also at level 54. The TM can be obtained in the North Province Area 1 at the Pokemon Center from the Battle League rep, and its recipe calls for Rockruff Rock, Roly-Coly-Cole, and Cloth Claw. Then for Earthquake and Hammer Arm, you'll learn the former at level 49, or by getting the TM from the League rep at the Isado Desert, and the latter upon evolving into Garganacl. Let me go ahead and calm a lot of you down right now by revealing the next Pokemon on our team, and it's Tinkaton. It is in fact a great Pokemon to put on your team, and one I wanted to make sure I included on the squad today. You can find Tinkatink near the Grand Olive Orchard, just being a tiny little menace with its hammer. And eventually, at level 24, it'll evolve in the Tinkatuff, and finally in the Tinkaton at level 38. It is another similar deal to Garganacl, and I'm a big fan of that sort of consistency. Now, the only thing that really goes against Tinkaton is its stats, as it's decently fast, which is great for a Fairy Steel type, but aside from its 105 special defense, the rest of its stats, sans HP, don't go over base 77. It needs help as an attacker, but even then, that hasn't stopped it from being one of my favorites in the 9th gen, and one of the most popular Paldean Pokemon in general. I wouldn't be surprised if it reappeared on one of the other best teams I have planned, because of just how versatile it is. So, for Tinkaton today, we've got Gigaton Hammer, Play Rough, Brutal Swing, and Swords Dance. It gets its hands on the very powerful base 160 power move Gigaton Hammer upon evolution. And while it is a move that can't be used in back-to-back turns, you're alright with that since it isn't something as bad as needing to recharge. The next move up is Play Rough, learned at level 35. It doesn't get much better than that as a powerful stab move, right? Then we have Brutal Swing, which I feel is a nice one to have for coverage, unless you're licking your lips looking at Skitter Smack, which I guess isn't the worst option either. Finally, Swords Dance. That's a TM you can find at West Province Area 1, and of course you'll also get the recipe after beating Airy. It calls for Scyther Claw, Zangoose Claw, and Gibble Skills. Now, if you're not feeling Swords Dance and instead would like an alternative Steel type move to use when Gigaton Hammer is unavailable for the turn, go with Flash Cannon. You just won't be able to make Tinkaton super strong with Swords Dance. Alright, so the second half of the team. Some of you are going to be very mad at me, and some of you might just end up clicking off the video now. So maybe I should put this team member at the end. You know what, screw it, I'll just keep it here. Folks, I told you I felt Gardevoir was the best Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet in my opinion, so naturally I needed to include it on my best team. It's a mainstay in every generation it's featured in, because it's always easy to get, an early evolution, and stupidly strong with one of the most powerful typing combos ever. I'm sorry if you guys find it boring or overused or anything like that, it's just a perfect Pokemon to have on your team. Especially when you're gonna have to deal with every typing possible. It's one of our strongest Pokemon, great specially, and with the speed you can deal with for a playthrough. I mean, Ralts makes its appearances right on the first leg of your journey before you even get to Mesagoza, making it one of the very first Pokemon you can capture after first getting Pokeballs. It evolves into Gardevoir by level 30 as well, making it the earliest evolution so far. All signs point to Gardevoir being very good on this team, and very good on any team. So I suppose if it's too much for you to see it get this rub today, I'm sorry. Now for those of you who are still here, you're the real MVPs. Gardevoir has Psychic, Moonblast, Thunderbolt, and Energy Ball. Talk about a nice moveset. If you're still struggling to understand why Gardevoir often makes best teams after hearing this set, I don't know what to tell you. Psychic is learned at level 42 or via a TM. And if you struggle with getting that TM and want a nice stab move prior, you can learn Psyshock via a TM as well, which is found in Cascaratha and at Caseroya Lake. The Psychic TM is given to you by beating Tulip. I suppose one way or the other, you'll have an easier time getting that. Then with Moonblast, that's learned at level 49, with Dazzling Gleam serving as the bridging fairy type move. The Thunderbolt TM you'll need next can be found in North Area Province 2 to the east of Fury Falls. And that you can make with Pachirisu Fur, Tadbulb Mucus, and Pichu Fur as well. That recipe is unlocked from beating Airy too. Finally, with Energy Ball, which features a recipe of deerling hair, apple and juice, and bramble and twig, that is another airy reward, you can find that in a few places, including just north of the Team Star Fairy type base. Now, you don't have to worry too much if you think the rest of the team is just returning Pokemon, because I still have one more Paldean introduced Mon to give to you, the powerful and long-awaited Annihilape. We've all known for a long while that Primeape deserved some love, whether as a regional variant or otherwise, and it got some here in the 9th generation. Annihilape is indeed another ghost type on the team, though the clear focus it puts into being a strong coverage-based Pokemon with a sweet typing made me alright with making that decision. It's got base 115 attack and 90 speed with a surprising base 110 stat. Not often you see ghost types with an HP that high, so this surprisingly bulky ghost type, of course, has an interesting way of obtaining it, as you have to use the move Rage Fist 20 times and then level up your Primeape for the evolution. We'll talk about the Rage Fist in a sec, but it also lends credence to why Annihilape can be a little tanky. You'll be able to find Mankey in West Province Area 1, among a few other places, and then evolve it into Primeape at level 28. You could always find Primeape in the wild as well, so do that if you'd like and skip Mankey altogether. This angry ghost monkey pig has got Rage Fist, Close Combat, Acrobatics, and Ice Punch making up its moveset. So Rage Fist continues the trend of the all-new Pokemon on this team using their signature move. The more Annihilape gets hit by the opponent, the stronger Rage Fist gets. It's pretty wild. It's learned, of course, as a Primeape, since you need to use this move to evolve as we just went over. So let's move on. Close Combat is learned at level 39, though Drain Punch as a TM I think is a very fair alternative if you really want to get the most out of Rage Fist. The Acrobatics TM is found near Casa Royal Lake and in East Province Area 3. But the best way to get it is to beat Mela for the recipe and then make it with Wattrel and Bombardier feathers. Finally, Ice Punch, which is always a good one for coverage, that's learned via a TM, and its recipe can be gotten after beating Atticus, made with Cubfoofer and Metatite Sweat. It's also found in Cascarafa just laying around, so that'll probably be a little easier. The final member of our team is a water type, and let me tell you something. I spent a long time looking at just what was viable and what I wanted to include with the way the rest of the team was constructed. I knew I wanted two things, a special attacker and a water type, and I did manage to find one that worked. It makes me really wish Starmie were in these games. It would have been nice to use that, even if I would have to double up on another typing. I had thought about Vaporeon as well, but that just wasn't going to fly in the realm of the best team. Instead, after a ton of deliberation, I went ahead and selected a former member of the best team club, Gastrodon. This sea slug offers me exactly what I was looking for, and it's really not bad at all. Shellos, which are found in East Province Area 1 among other places, evolves into Gastrodon at level 30. It's relatively specially bulky and has a base 93 special attack, which plays just fine here. It's also got some coverage we were looking for too, as we'll see in a moment. I know Gastrodon might seem like a weird choice, especially in a region with a lot of different water types, but it really just made sense with the composition of the best team and serves as a perfect complement for the rest of our squad, especially if you get one with Storm Drain. That thing will hit super hard. The very last set of our video on this surprising Pokemon is Surf, Earth Power, Ice Beam, and Sludge Bomb. Gastrodon's usage of Surf is rooted in the fact that Scald is no longer a move just any Pokemon has access to. As a matter of fact, it's now only available to Volcanion now, making it one of that mythical signature moves. That's a bit crazy in my opinion. I can't believe Game Freak pulled something like that, especially with such a useful and popular move. But we've got to learn to live with it. The TM for Surf is obtained in Levincia City, and the recipe calls for Finneon Skills, Wiglet Sand, and Finizen Mucus. Man, this game has got way too much mucus you have to craft with. It's kinda gross. Then Earth Power is learned at level 39 for a little stab, though maybe you already have the recipe for its TM from earlier. Do whatever comes first. Ice Beam is a TM you can either craft after beating Airy with Cryogonal Ice, Shelter Pearl, and a Delibird parcel, or by finding it on a small island near the Watchtower in North Province Area 1. Finally, we'll close out this ending set with Sludge Bomb, learned once again via TM that you can locate in South Province Area 6 near Alfornada. The recipe for it, which is another Airy unlocked one, is Krogunk Poison, Grimer Toxin, and Fungus Spores. Alright, so it's time to find out what this team does well against. Since this game allows you to play however you like, I'm just going to name off every battle and include the whole team when sharing what you can use to defeat said trainer. So without further ado, we'll start with the Titans. And against Cloth, you'll be able to basically use any team member. I guess just be wary of using Skeledirge. The Bombardier is a job best served for your Fairy-type Pokemon or Gastrodon. Orthworm can be beat down by Skeledirge for safety, but Garganacl isn't bad for it either. The two Paradox Titans are ground, so using Gastrodon is a fantastic way to take them down. And finally, for the Dondozo and Tatsugiri, you can pretty much rely on Gardevoir to take them down. But offering some support will be Annihilape or Tinkaton. After you finish the Path of Legends, you'll go up against Arven, and in the battle with him, you'll use Annihilape's fighting moves with a little hammer arm from Garganacl against his Mabostiff, Garganacl, Cloyster, and Greedent. As for Scovillain, Acrobatics will crush it, and an Ice Beam from Gastrodon will wipe out Toedscruel. Sorry for needing to beat up your pal Mabostiff, Arven. Now for the team star leaders. You'll have Annihilape for Giacomo, since his Dark-type moves will be neutral, and a close combat from our ghostly pal will cave him in. Your battle with Mela will be easily handled by Gastrodon if you so wish, though Garganacl is just as good of a choice. When you battle Atticus, you can use a combo of Gardevoir's Psychic-type moves and Gastrodon's Ground-type moves to easily beat him. When up against Ortega, Gastrodon's Sludge Bomb will be perfect for dealing with Azumarill, but the rest of his team is soloed by Tinkaton, especially if you ended up running Flash Cannon over Swords Dance. Finally, against Aerie, you'll have to turn to Gardevoir's Psychic and Fairy-type moves, and then a little help from Tinkaton and Annihilape's Acrobatics will help you make short work of her. After you've defeated all these leaders in Operation Starfall during your trip down Starfall Street, you'll have to take on Cassiopeia in a battle. And of course that's Penny and her team of Evolutions. Garganacl is good to take on her Flareon, Gastrodon can defeat her Jolteon, Annihilape will take on Umbreon, Skeledirge matches up with Leafeon, Gardevoir throws Energy Ball and Thunderbolt at Vaporeon, and finally Sylveon will be no match for Tinkaton. Pretty cool that we've got one Pokemon to match up with each of her evolutions, honestly. Finally, it's time for Victory Road. We'll do this one quickly. Katie's team, as well as Brassius's teams, will both be handled by Skeledirge and its Fire-type moves. Iono's Electric types are prime for Gastrodon to take down. Even Misdreavus with its Levitate will just be brute forced, since it's not got much to attack Gastrodon with. Kofu is going to be an easy game for Gardevoir with its two coverage moves, followed by Larry, who will get his stuff rocked by Annihilape. Even that Staraptor with Aerial Ace is going to be in for a world of hurt. It's a similar deal for Rhyme. You can go toe-to-toe with her ghosts using Skeledirge and Annihilape, or simply let Tinkaton Brutal swing a bunch with Garganacl, since that big golem can eat up the hits. Tulip will be interesting, because while your ghost-type moves will do well, you'll need to just Brutal Swing with Tinkaton to take down Farigiraf. And yes, I got the pronunciation right. Finally, in the battle against Grusha, you'll of course be able to just let Skeledirge use its Fire-type moves for a huge amount of success in what should be an easy gym battle. This leads us to the Elite Four battles, starting with Rika and her ground types. They'll be easily tamed by Gastrodon, and while it's risky, Skeledirge offers support with Earth Power and Gardevoir with Energy Ball. The battle against Poppy is an easy one for Skeledirge's Fire-type moves, and of course a few close combats will go a long way too. Larry decided he didn't get enough smoke from us, so take down his flying types with Garganacl, but save Gardevoir for Flamigo and Staraptor since they carry close combat. Finally, Hassle's Dragon types are well handled by Gastrodon's Ice Beam, and then the Fairy-type moves Gardevoir and Tinkaton have. When you get through everyone, you'll have to contest with La Primera herself, Geeta. Her team is definitely not as scary as it could be, but something that can still be seen as a challenge. Espathra is handled by Annihilape's Rage Fist, and Kingambit can eat a close combat and be dropped. Let Skeledirge take out Go-Go and Avalugg, and then leave Veluza to Gardevoir and Glamora to Tinkaton. It's that easy, folks. Then, after you become a champion in Paldea, you'll battle your rival Limona one last time. And against her, you'll probably have little to no issues destroying her. Lycanroc, Orthworm, and Dunsparce are all handled by close combat after close combat. And then Goodra can't withstand our Fairy-type moves. And then the combo of Meowscarada and Pawmot are handled by Skeledirge. It's really so easy to beat her, it's kind of a shame. Finally, after you've walked the Path of Legends, stormed down Starfall Street, and raced through Victory Road, you've just got to find the way home. You have one serious battle in this finale of the story that we'll focus on, and it's against your AI professor. I'll be quick here, but Sada's team features the two Fairy types, both of which can be taken down by Tinkaton. Her Slitherwing and Brute Bonnet are begging for Skeledirge to just rock them, though a little help from Annihilape may be necessary if things go sideways. The Electric Ground Sandy Shocks is Gastrodon's forte. And finally, Roaring Moon will be Gardevoir's prime target, as a Moonblast sends that thing back into the sky where it belongs. The battle with Turo is also rather simple, with half of his team very weak to ground-type moves. So Earth Power and Earthquake on half of our team will be able to make short work of them. Iron Bundle is best taken down by Gardevoir with its Energy Ball and Thunderbolt combo, and then Iron Jugulis can even be handled with a Moonblast. Finally, Iron Valiant is easy fodder for Annihilape, whose acrobatics should be more than strong enough to take it down in a hit or two at this point. Though just throwing the weight of your Fairy-type moves at it will be fine too. Once you've beaten the AI Professor, congrats, you've defeated Scarlet and Violet. That was a lot of battles to go over. All 18 typings represented, and I think we've brought out a team that clearly has no trouble trouncing them all. It's kind of fun to have a game where basically every major or minor character you come across is one you can battle. That's a nice aspect of things that Game Freak needs to keep going with. That said though, this was it. The best team for Scarlet and Violet. It was a pretty fun one to put together, and I spent a lot of time looking into this one and coming up with the best lineup. I have other teams planned too for the next few weeks, ranging from alternate starters, to one using only new Pokemon, to even a worse team. But you'll just have to wait on those. If some of your favorite Pokemon didn't show up here today, they could always end up in the other videos. But anyway, thank you again for joining me for another best team, and let me know what you think about it in the comments below. With that, I'll see you folks next time. Thanks for watching the video and for coming through and enjoying Scarlet and Violet with me. We've got so much content coming surrounding Gen 9 through the end of the year and beyond, including the top 10 strongest Pokemon, the best team for the games, and much more. If you're interested in more Mystic content, check out my TikTok and Mystic Umbreon Shorts YouTube channel. When we get to 5,000 subs on the channel, we're going to have a new series related to Scarlet and Violet that will be exclusive to there, so go subscribe. Also, if you're into fanfictions or Genshin Impact, check out Mystic Reads and Tibotchinary. I offer a ton of creative spoken word content over there, and I do a bunch of theories and lore videos surrounding Genshin Impact. So come join me over there at that floats your boat. That's all for now. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time for more Scarlet and Violet content.